my Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your work, career, and vocation read for July and August 2021. I am your reader, Mark Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions since 1998, the Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons. But you can call me Mal. Hey, my Scorps. I'm a younger brother to a Scorpio, so I'm still alive is pretty much a miracle. God bless his heart. Let's get down to business, shall we? We are doing a 12-card spread here, a work, career, vocation read. I've done these for clients for decades. As much as I am known as the true love witch, right? Certainly running my company all this time, I've seen so many spiritual startups come and go, and you'd be surprised how many presidents of different industries have reached out to me over the decades for clarity, guidance, and grace, because you can make all the money you want in the world if you're not really fulfilled. That's what these readings are for. And if you are feeling really fulfilled but not making the money that you need, this is the reading you might very well need. The 3 levels of power as taught by Carolyn Myss. We're using her archetype deck with our first 3 cards down there. There's a link in the description box of her lecturing on the 3 levels of power. In this case, we are using those lenses for work, career, and vocation, your life purpose, brought down into the literal level, the personal level, and the symbolic level. Lower 3 chakras, heart, or third eye crown. 8th chakra, work, career, vocation. I'll call out the rest as I go, as the guides guide me to, for any additional explanation. And if you want to go deeper, like I said, I do these readings a lot for people. So find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Deets in the description box. I'm Mark Angelo Lyons in Holbrook, New York. You'll see the profile picture. You'll know it's me. Who else has purple curly hair in Holbrook, New York? So yeah, take it as it comes. I am here to help. I am here to serve, Virgo that I am, and my book, Words of Grace, has been helping people out, as well as that meditation that I did, the True Lover meditation. I'm getting some pretty cool feedback on that. Yeah, I cried on camera. My heart was open so much on camera. I felt naked, but wasn't. All right, all the decks that I read are always in the bottom of the description box. It's a general read. You know the YouTube reading rules, but do check your other signs, because there's usually one of the 3 that shows leverage. So if you know your leverage in your vocation, and then another one gives you the leverage in your career, and another the leverage in your work, very, very helpful, as well as you can certainly go check last month's that I did for June and July and see if there is a continuing thread. Other than that, both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath, if you will. All the decks that I read are always in the bottom of the description box, along with a lot of other cool links for your entertainment, education, edutainment, whatever you want. I got a ton of stuff on Vimeo, on demand, as well as free. I just resubscribed for another year, so check it out. All right, that's about it. Yeah, I've even got some timeless romantic soulmate reads on there, but you got to probably watch part 1 in YouTube, then you can jump over. I guess that's about it. I'm done explaining, aren't you? Please take a nice deep breath. Oh yeah, I'm doing my, I have 2 house calls this week. Well, 3, technically 2 readings, a mother and son, that I'm doing later today. Gonna get my car and drive to someone's house for a house call. Haven't done that in a long time. And then Friday, I've got a spiritual counseling client. We are meeting in a park. So I'm so psyched to be back on the road. My J&J shot in the arm. Oh, so ready to rock and roll. So let's see what I can get for you here. Again, one nice deep breath. Waiting to inhale. Here we go. My collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of life purpose through the lenses of work, career, and vocation, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, 3 cards. What are the 8th chakra dynamics? The archetypal powers that they are healing, transforming, alchemizing from lead to gold, shadow to light, pain to peace, toxic to healthy in this Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. work, career, vocation read. What's going on in their work, the 8th chakra of their work, the 8th chakra of their career, please, and the 8th chakra of their vocation. Now, you already know what these are, right? They're in the title, so I've been saying this a lot. Let's see how brave you are. Let's see who shows up here. Oh, yeah, well, with the slave, first one down, you're probably not thrilled. You don't know how many clients I've worked with who are slaves to corporations, right? Seriously. Oh, the Exorcist, we're on a roll here, but, you know, Scorpio, you're probably into it. Avoid pea soup. Really, the card of the shaman, but I get why they didn't use the word shaman here. I mean, Exorcist is a little bit intense. I mean, looks like a shaman. I mean, here, I'll show you the picture. Right? It's like, come on, that looked like a shaman. But, you know, that's cultural appropriation, misappropriation, whatever. In your career, that's interesting. Not so much for Scorpio, though. Oh, and the Alchemist in your vocation. There's shadow work here, particularly where you are abdicating responsibilities to something horizontally instead of vertically. And let's start there. Your work right now, the slave archetype is a wild card. Family, your other two, the Exorcist is the divine family, the Alchemist, both the divine and wisdom, because it is. Some archetypes share families that way. The shadow side, giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices. So very throat chakra, the second level of power should be indicative of that, particularly with the Exorcist. The light attribute, surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. By the Wiccan law, you must in perfect love and perfect trust. And I add to that, well, perfect love and perfect trust of the gods and the archangels. Everyone else is a little shifty except my mom. Right? So, you know, thy will be done for the well-being of all and harm to none. Yeah, it's very easy to be a slave to money, right? A slave to an industry, a slave to a boss, right? Do you ever have a slave driver? If you're calling your boss a slave driver, you're playing the role of the slave. Now, you can have an archetype, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. This feels more like a reason, a temporary, particularly with these other two on the table here. But do you understand the potential of the slave to become the master? You with me? Slaves are ancient. I mean, how far back do you want to go? I mean, like Egypt? Right? Who knows what went on in the Fertile Crescent, you know, the Tigris and the Euphrates. Woo, he just brought up world history, yeah. Because this is just what they're showing me there. I mean, Jesus was a slave in a way, right? As was Moses, literally was a slave. So, you know, they all became masters, but not by abdicating responsibility out here out of fear, but you show me. That's my prayer every morning. And yet I'm not a slave. I'm a servant. I have choice. So lovely in the work there. Some work being done. And why wouldn't you have to do that? Particularly fear of making your own choices here. Throat chakra, willpower, choices, decisions, spit, swallow, or chew, darling. The shadow attribute, fear of facing your own demons. And look, shadow work ain't easy. If it was easy, this world would have been in nirvana thousands of years ago. And I mean the state of being, not the band, obviously, although I miss Kurt Cobain, so cute. The light attribute, well, hello, Melchior. We have a little feline visitor here, my youngest son. Hey, baby, you haven't done this in a real long time. No, not Taurus. Don't even bother. Freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. Absolutely there. That ability. It's a form of alchemy. Shadow work has come into vogue yet again and yet is ancient as the hills. Now, if we were to call this the shaman, I'm a witch. I will not claim the word shaman, although I was trained in shamanic witchcraft. You know, I'm not going that. I'm not an indigenous person. I'm indigenous to Long Island. Was I really an indigenous person? Mutt that I am, Euro-Mediterranean mutt that I am. But certainly, you never had a tribe full of shamans, right? You had one per tribe, right? You never had a whole community of witches. Well, now we do, but usually one witch per steading. Read Terry Pratchett's books, you'll see what I mean by that. So, there is wisdom here. This is a divine family archetype, but the alchemy that you do here with your own throat chakra, whether you choose or decide to do this to free yourself and others of destructive impulses, we're really looking at a true service in your career that heals not just everyone around you, but the whole world. Because every time one of us alchemizes something from lead to gold, it affects the entire energy grid. The fifth dimensional unity consciousness, speaking of which, you have the Alchemist. That's what I mean. These two are double whammy in a way. Like I say, they both share the divine family, but there's a nice touch of the wisdom family in here as well. The shadow attribute of the Alchemist, misuse of power and knowledge that come through spiritual practice. We've done it. You do. Everybody does it. I just did it. I'm going to do it again. Name the movie. History of the world. Look, of course, there are steps in terms of particularly 8th chakra of sometimes us using our spiritual practice or whatever it is that you do in terms of your calling and your vocation to misuse power. But I think we're also looking here at misusing wisdom, like trying to alchemize something to get somebody to do something. It's still manipulative. It's still not great. Just do the alchemy. Like I am going to use my spiritual knowledge and power to exorcise the demons from my life. Meanwhile, the people in your life, work, career, vocation, family, lovers, friends, all of that, are there for a purpose, right? That we're all here to help each other heal on one level or another, and sometimes that's harder than we want it to be because the light attribute, transformation of base, motives, and goals into golden wisdom. So look, I get it. If you are hurting for money right now, and I understand that. I mean, I am self-employed, and I lived through this past year and a half, both working my ass off, and I have a handful of backers that, like, when you need us, you let us know, and I had to. I'm a Virgo. I'm pretty proud that way. I got to watch out for that to ask for help when I need it. But certainly using your spiritual practice, your calling, your mystical power in ways that are driven by something base. Now, look, I'm not talking about the basics: food, clothing, shelter, rent, power, internet, obviously, that's fine. That's not in the shadow. That's working hard for the money. So hard for it, honey. But if you are using it to manipulate, and that's why no tea, no shade against, teachers of law of attraction, but what the ego does with that is very much this. And you actually end up turning your gold to lead, right? Instead of transforming your base motives and goals into golden wisdom. Yes, I am going to abdicate, not this way, but surrender my will to the divine, right? Deal with my demons, and alchemize this to bring it all into unison. Great foundation. In the 8th chakra, let's look at the psychological dynamics, heart, throat, third eye, crown chakra, and your work, career, vocation. Particularly the center lane. Feels like your leverage already. Breathe. Yeah, surrendering your will to the divine with complete trust. Oh yeah, that's easy. That's not a once and done. Honey, some days for me that's hourly. Breathe. As I call upon my goddesses of water and the sign of Scorpio, please, what is the internal, the divine feminine aspect, the heart, third eye, crown, emotional power, will power, mental power, spiritual power for the Scorpio collective, sun, moon, rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation. Please leave the cards in my hand. We've got the slave in their work. Yeah, what's going on inside of them there? The Exorcist in their career. I mean, really heavy-duty cards. I mean, none of these are mild. All of these are pretty wild. Please, heart, third eye, crown for the Scorpio. With the Exorcist in their crown, like who or what are they battling here within? And with that Alchemist in their vocation, right? What are they doing? Like rituals and prayers just to make a buck. It happens, but that's survival power. That's fine. But misuse of power and knowledge that comes through spiritual practice. Scoping and probing without people's permission. Really good example of that. Psychic spying. That doesn't really go well. What's going on there with the Alchemist in their 8th? What is their heart, third eye crown dynamic for the Scorpios in their vocation? I really not want to give me a card. Just leave it in my hands. Is it this one? It is. I just got to wait until it's one card. Let's see. Lovely. Duh. And okay, well, let's start with your work. Got the Slave archetype with the 3 of Pentacles. I love the 3 of Pentacles in this deck. Aruru, the clay woman. She's taking the dirt beneath her feet, what's around her, molding it into something beautiful and practical, but it is still in the malleable, mutable phase. It's still clay. It has not yet been put into the kiln, right? She's got it on her potter's, well, it's not a wheel, but it's a round, looks like a tree stump. I don't know. I'm not the artist of the deck, right? So it's still that place of putting things together. So inside, you know, a nice solid creative foundation here, but certainly with the Slave archetype, surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. That's the work. Just in terms of the physical world and the work that you're doing in the world, right? That creativity inside of you of saying, well, what am I learning from this? And what if I did this? And, you know, just like paying bills sometimes, it's like, well, I don't want to say robbing from Peter to pay Paul. That's something my grandmother and my father said all the time. But you know what I mean? Like, just really giving yourself a solid sense of foundation within through surrendering your will to the divine, and those last 2 words, with complete trust. Simple, not easy. Here we go. The Exorcist in the 8th in your career with what card? Oh, how about Oppression, the Devil card? I mean, come on. That's a little on the nosy-dozy there, don't you think? I mean, this card, Oppression, this deck, it's a feminist deck. It doesn't use patriarchal imagery, so it doesn't have a devil card, but it takes the energy of the devil card and splits it into 2. The Coyote Woman and Oppression, which actually has a coyote howling in the background. I don't know if you can see that between the burning buildings right there. And if you look at it, there's a woman, right, covered in rocks, but the rocks are the faces of people. So there can be some codependent stuff going on here. You can be taking on other people's energies, maybe processing, right? Because it's not just freeing yourself, it's freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. Like, what are the chains that are binding you? What are the fears that may not be all your own? If you are an empath, that's something that comes along, at least with my line of work, but might be inherited from family. It's certainly not the truth of your soul, and it's certainly chaining you and holding you back. Now, I will say, we can have a lot of fear, shame, and guilt about our physical circumstances, our finances, our maybe where we came from, right? Those are like heavy rocks, but do understand, if you still care about what people think about you, it's 2021, darling. That era is, if not dying, dead, right? So you might have to kind of go in and really lift some of these rocks off of you, because just like, well, in most devil cards, where the chains are loose around their neck and you could just whoop and walk away, there are ways out of this burning village. So if you hear me say, don't burn down the village, this is the burn down the village card. I mean, there are open doors. They could just like walk right out of this village and into safety, but for the psychic weight, the stuff that they're putting on themselves, Scorpio, as well as that maybe other people have put on you, kind of holding you down, and to exorcise that's power. Why do you do it? Power. The Alchemist in your vocation here with a very tricky word. Now, 6 of Blades in this deck, manipulation is the key word. There's no reversal to this card. It's mandalic. Boogie, oogie, oogie. So the alchemy, your heart, third eye crown, there is a balancing out of the thoughts here. Very third eye, right? kind of spinning things around. Now, the word manipulation in and of itself is neutral. When I teach witchcraft, I do this all the time, right? It's like intention is everything, right? Because manipulation of somebody else, and we were kind of looking at that before with the shadow side of the alchemist here. But if you think of it as alchemy, if you think about it as, okay, oh, do I have a lighter handy? I do. Okay. So manipulation, good or evil. I could burn you with it. Depending on what you're into, that's usually evil. Or I can light a candle and pray, right? It's like the quality is in the intent. You take an aspirin, you manipulate, right? You do yoga, you manipulate. You lie, cheat, scheme, scope, probe, using your spiritual mystical power. What was that again? Misuse of the power of knowledge that comes through spiritual practice. That turns gold to lead, darlings, and gold is a conductor and lead is an insulator. So yeah, and I will go with, they're showing me, the traditional Six of Swords, a journey, a mental journey to find balance, maybe that transcendent thing of sort of leaving choppy waters behind and going into a more peaceful place by the transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. Lovely. I mean, this do speak for itself. Now, I can't imagine people seeing Slave, Exorcist, and Alchemist in the video title and being like, yeah, unless they were Scorpios. Breathe. Yeah. My gods of water and the sign of Scorpio, Poseidon, and Hades. Please, 3 cards in clarity for the Scorpio Collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation, July, August 2021. They've got the slave archetype in their work with the clay woman, and I get that, kind of sculpting it and sort of doing the work. So from the outside looking in, or them from the inside looking out, some aspect of the physical here, or at least something that is affecting their root, sacrum, solar plexus, the sacrum chakra certainly being about money. That's 2. Just 1, please, from the outside looking in for the Scorpios in their first level of power. There we go, their work. In their career, the Exorcist, with the oppression card there for sure, with that trickster coyote energy in there for sure, but also a real oppression, and it does feel somewhat self-imposed. And that's why, as they free themselves from their destructive impulses, so others around them will follow suit. That is a real sense there. So what does that look like from the inside out or from the outside in? Thank you. And the Alchemist in their vocation with that 6 of blades, manipulation, but that it can also be therapy, that can be a spiritual practice, just about the intention behind it. What does that look like? Root, sacrum, solar plexus, from the inside looking out or the outside looking in? Let's see. Well, minor arcana and 2 kings. This is lovely. Well, interesting. You got the slave with the 3 of pentacles on the inner and 6 of pentacles on the outer. Now, I'm sorry, that is about fairness. I'm just feeling that there's a real opportunity here for the scales to be balanced, but I do think that comes from you surrendering not to an extra, but by the way, surrendering your will to the divine doesn't mean you're not going to get the guidance to get what's yours, right? To bring things into balance. It's not abdication it's not renunciation of the world. It's just not. It's saying in any given moment, all right, I feel like a slave here. I feel like no matter what I do, I have no choices, so thy will be done. Right? Oh, here comes the garbage truck. All right, I'm going to pause. This is a loud one. Be right back. You know what? Because the dumpster for my condo development is like not right outside my window, but I can watch it happen through the windows. And I'm watching that. I'm like, yeah, man, they're dumping the garbage, right? They're letting go. It's, I guess, a form of exorcism. At least it's exorcising the fuck out of my the thing, right? So there is a releasing of old stuff going on here, But with the King of Wands, it's very much Aries energy. It's very much a new beginning for you in your career, or maybe there is someone in your life who is really inspiring this. I do not get the feeling that this is somebody oppressing you. Oh, it could be. Again, you know, it doesn't have to be an Aries person. It's Aries energy. Maybe a little selfish, but cardinal fire, creative fire, the first sign of the zodiac, initiatory. This feels more like somebody who is like a teacher or a leader or someone who's very inspiring to you that can very much help you with this. Now, I will say there is a movie you can find called The Shadow Effect by Debbie Ford. No longer with us, unfortunately, bless her soul. I believe it was a Hay House video, but don't quote me on that. It's sort of like The Secret, but about shadow work. It's a good introduction. And lots of good visuals, trying to hold beach balls under the water. That was one I never forgot as a Pisces moon. So there is, and maybe this is you from the outside in saying, screw this. I'm walking away. I am casting off these rocks that weigh me down, these chains that bind, and by doing the shadow work and coming out fresh and new as a strong, bold, creative force. Again, take it as it fits for you. Because in your vocation, I kind of really love this. You've got the Alchemist with, this is so perfect, with that manipulation. With the King of Pentacles, it's King Midas of the Midas touch, not so much the mufflers, if that's still a thing. Well, mufflers are still a thing. I don't know, the Midas still exists. Comment below. You don't have to. But look, this is the Capricorn energy. Like, it, again, yes, the center lane feels like leverage to an extent, but this is where the real spiritual work comes in, by following your calling, by surrendering your will to the divine and doing the shadow work. You alchemize something within you, and you do it mentally, I would say, through prayer, through spiritual practice. Or, again, this could be someone external to you who has already achieved that which you want to achieve, one would think spiritually, but maybe in, you know, your career or your vocation, maybe there's a certain amount of freedom that they have there. Kings usually do have that. But do understand that they didn't do it overnight either. Capricorn, slow and steady wins the race. They don't have to be a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, Uranus. I don't care. Let's keep Uranus out of this. But there's definitely something there. Like, this could be a spirit. You don't know how many spiritual teachers I will never meet. No, because I don't, you know, want to. Don't meet your heroes. I'm big on that. I met a handful. I was like, no bueno. Well, Chelsea Handler isn't a hero to me, but her Pisces sun is the same as my Pisces moon, so I would just love to hang out with her and just say thank you and then move on. She's lovely. You know, people don't, the word lovely isn't usually conjured, but she's lovely to me, right? But there's somebody, it didn't happen to her overnight, and she's on top of the fucking world right now. So, you know, maybe there is somebody who inspires you that way, but certainly, you know, this is a very, very powerful read here, because if you read it this way, the alchemy that does the exorcist work and you're surrendering your will to the divine, this is big. Let's get the last three cards down. Matt Kahn Healing Mantra Deck. If you've been following my channel for the past couple of years, you know this is one of my favorite healing systems. Carolyn Myss and Matt Kahn are not divination. They are healing systems, but we're using them for divinatory properties here. The perfect healing mantra from the Ascended Master of Work, Career, Vocation. This will really help you bring this into alignment. Please take a nice deep breath. Yeah, my beloved Ascended Masters of Work, Career, and Vocation, life purpose through those three lenses. Please, what are the three perfect healing mantras for the Scorpio Collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation? They've got the Slave in the 8th, 3 of Pentacles, Clay Woman on the inner, 6 of Pentacles on the outer. What's that about? What's their mantra? They've got in their career the Exorcist in the 8th, oppression, the Devil on the inner, King of Wands on the outer. That feels really, really good with that King of Wands, whether that's someone, whether that's them or someone kind of leading the way there for them. What's going on there? And in their vocation, the Alchemist. that they have the Midas, right? That everything they touch turns to gold. The Midas Miser archetype is that, just not in this reading. It's not here. So with that manipulation on the inner, that Six of Blades, which can absolutely be about, contemplation. Not so much meditation, but contemplation for sure, right? Going into that mental balance, seeing things clearly with that Capricorn, King of Pentacles on the outer in their vocation. What's their mantra? Now, there are two ways to do this, and I recommend both. First, you got all pink cards. The first is looking at the names of the mantras and then the mantras themselves on the other side. So, and putting them together in a line. So you got the Slave, Three of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles. Your money's going to come. Your money's going to come, but don't abdicate this way, abdicate this way. Discovering happiness, I allow myself to be content as exactly as I am, which is no easy thing if there ain't nothing going on but the rent and you're looking for a J-O-B. If you want to be with me, sorry, whatever. Generation X, cope. Discovering happiness. I allow myself to be content exactly as I am, and that's the thing. There might be other people around you. It's like, well, why are you so content? Why aren't you out there, working your fingers to the bone, right? Where it's like, yeah, I will do that. I will get out there. But I'm bringing myself into alignment here because there's something, that Three of Pentacles inside, that's coming into shape and coming into form. And it's all balancing out in the physical there. So, of course, that would lead right into, this is intense, the Exorcist with the devil. Come on. Just stop it. Just let that image go. Peeing on the floor with company over. With the King of Wands here, I'm telling you, with inviting ecstasy, there is a good feeling way through this. I am worthy of all the pleasure my heart desires. I have a grapevine cutting outside that I didn't think was gonna, if it was working. If you follow me on Instagram, the story, it's on there, right? But because it's a grapevine and I'm a Dionysus archetype, I absolutely every day go out and do this mantra with it, not to it, with it, right? And it's sprouting, it's coming. And let's see what, that's the Cabernet, what's the other one? Oh, the Concord grapes, Harmonia, goddess of Concord. Little grapies are forming, right? So I am worthy of all the pleasure my heart desires in discovering happiness, right? Well, we'll put the three of them together. That totally makes sense. You're inviting in ecstasy to sort of lift. I mean, what a power to bring into an exorcist, freeing yourself from destructive impulses by doing the shadow work and inviting in ecstasy, which is, like, to me, higher than bliss and vibration, but, to each their own. Well, and with this Alchemist, the manipulation, remember that's a neutral word, however you're taking that. With Midas, the King of Pentacles, well, do you just have creating cooperation? More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. So you are not in this alone, and yet you are being asked to surrender your will to no one out here, right? Slave to God. Well, the way I say it, a servant of the gods, slave to no man. Or person, I should say. Right? That there is that kind of power here, but your fears are in the way. And I'm just wondering how many of these fears, well, none of our fears are endemic to the soul. They are things of the personality and the ego that we come in to clear, to heal in this life for the well-being of all. So, putting just discovering happiness, inviting ecstasy, and creating cooperation, that works, right? That makes sense here. You're not in this alone, particularly cooperation with them, whoever them may be for you. I allow myself to be content exactly as I am. I am worthy of all the pleasure my heart desires, and more gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. I'm wondering with this card of oppression if other people have been putting their responsibilities on you. I mean, certainly that is a codependent card, the devil, right? Some form of addiction and restriction. So maybe you are carrying the psychic weight of people, and maybe you are afraid of really taking the chance of surrendering your will to the divine because of what someone else might think or what they want, which is sort of oppressing you in that way. All right, let me put it together in the blessing as I like to do. A little summary, but with a little a little, sometimes it's a very, very powerful blessing. Let's see how it come out my mouth. Please take a nice deep breath. My collective pantheons of the divine, please may the Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading, be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation for July and August 2021, that they may transform the base motives and goals into golden wisdom through a process of mental manipulation, balance, therapy, so that they can either work with or see themselves as an alchemist, that everything they touches turns to gold, working with others, creating cooperation, because more does get accomplished when everyone has a role to play, so that in their career they can free themselves and others of destructive impulses, exorcising the oppression of the devil card there, either becoming from the outside looking in, or working with someone who is inspirational for them, who is initiatory, who maybe initiate them into a deeper level of shadow work there, but one that is inviting ecstasy, because they are worthy of all the pleasure their hearts desires, as are we all, but the alchemy is necessary as well, as they in their work life surrender their power of choice to the divine with complete trust, which isn't a once and done. It's a like more than brushing your teeth, molding something inside of them, that new foundation that's still changeable, that's still malleable, but definitely in play for them, that is bringing things into balance in their outside world. And it may be coming into balance, heart, third eye, crown, that actually brings them a lot more of this fairness, particularly by invoking the power of the divine as the alchemist, doing the shadow work and surrendering your will to the divine, discovering their happiness, allowing themselves to be content exactly as they are, because they are exactly where they need to be in the perfect time and place, no matter what they or anybody else says, because their life purpose is unfolding, even when they think it's not, even when they're sure it's not. May they be blessed with what they need to experience directly how powerful they really are, and that if they can let go, if they can do the work, if they can really alchemize this for themselves, then they are looking at an ecstatic, happy cooperation here for their well-being, for the well-being of everyone in their life, and let's call it what it is, for the well-being of all of humanity who struggle with this on the daily. So mote it be. And so it is. Woo! Whew. Last video of the day. I got 2 clients later today, a mother-son team. Can't wait to see them about 5 miles away. Gonna get myself a Starbucks. Gonna get myself all ready to rock and roll, but the makeup's staying on. I'm not taking it off for a house call. So if you want a house call, you gotta be somewhat nearby. I used to go from Manhattan to Montauk. I'm gonna charge you more than $100 an hour to drive to Manhattan or Montauk as a drive. But if you want to book me on otherwise video chat, I got Zoom, we got Facebook video call, I've got Skype. We can do all of that. Find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and please do check out my book, Words of Grace. Just go preview it. I did the dedications to my mom. It's really sweet. It makes people well up and cry. So Scorpio, have at it. Otherwise, wishing you all the very, very best and the very, very blessed in your work, career, vocation, tricky though it may be. And if you need some spiritual counseling work, honey, this is my gig. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.